Have you ever seen such a good use of running errands? Big man hungry whistle, he will come running fast. Using the weight of the boulder, a catapult instantly to the upper floors. Then he uses his excellent cooking skills to make a delicious sandwich in 3 seconds. When Big Man is thirsty, he buys all the drinks from the vending machine, using the moves of a top bartender to make a unique drink. When Big Man asks him to borrow a gymnastics uniform, he makes it for Big Man. He made a unique costume by stepping on the sewing machine with great skill, making Big Man the most beautiful person in the school. Even if his shoes are dirty, glittering and smooth as long as it passes by his hand, he can help Big Man answer questions in class and give him massages after class. If you have him, you can enjoy the best service. And Sakamoto does not feel humiliated by doing this. On the contrary, it is the best exercise of patience and insight. The carefree life made Big Man even fatter, but Big Man became dissatisfied with this. He felt it was too much trouble to tell him one thing at a time. He told Sakamoto to learn to read people's minds and judge for himself what Big Man needed. But little did Big Man know that his nightmare was just beginning. When he was going home, his shoes were gone, because Sakamoto had already predicted in advance to help Big Man to heat up to the most comfortable temperature. But Big Man was furious. How could he possibly wear such shoes? This made Sakamoto think that Big Man already hated wearing shoes. The next moment, Sakamoto pushed the cart towards Big Man. Big Man was so scared that he ran around. Big Man came to the equipment room and pushed the equipment and blocked the door. Just as Big Man called for help, Sakamoto's clothes appeared again. Big Man was shaking in fear. This is not the kind of care he wanted. However, Sakamoto had already set up a bed for him to rest on. Sakamoto then sang a lullaby for him. The Big Man finally couldn't take it anymore and cried out in anguish. After that, Big Man stopped bullying others and started to buy things on his own. This made Sakamoto feel depressed. He asks Chubby, Sakamoto was so handsome that he was targeted by Chubby's mother. 2 weeks ago, Sakamoto won the midterm exam with a perfect score. Chubby failed all the exams and came in at the bottom. If this continues, Chubby will have to repeat the year. So he asked Sakamoto to help him tutor. But something went wrong when he got home. Sakamoto is polite and courteous. At their first meeting, Sakamoto prepares a seashell gift for Chubby's mother. From that moment on, his mother becomes obsessed with Sakamoto. She followed Sakamoto everywhere he went. She filmed whatever Sakamoto did. She cooked Sakamoto's meals and fed him. She even spent a lot of money on a beauty device. Chubby came up with a two-pronged plan. Sakamoto was told to hide before Chubby's mother found him. Sakamoto agreed with a show of hands. As a result, Sakamoto now has to quickly hide under the bed whenever he hears Chubby's mother's voice. Chubby forgot to bring his book at that time. He left Sakamoto at home. However, he didn't know that his mother had already suspected something. When he opened the cupboard, he found Sakamoto's shoes. So the game of hide-and-seek begins. She opened the door to Chubby's room. Sakamoto was propped up against the wall, and then looked for an opportunity to slip away. Mother heard the movement and continued to follow. Sakamoto chooses to use objects to attract her mother's attention, but the mother is very persistent and will not stop until she finds Sakamoto. Sakamoto hid in the carpet and then in the washing machine. Finally, he leaves footprints and pretends to have escaped with the sheet. The mother was very disappointed, not knowing that he was pretending to be a clothesline right next to her. The mother went back to her room and played her favorite movie. It turned out that Sakamoto was loved by his mother because he looked so much like the star. She looked at the TV and talked to herself. It was obvious that she would easily give up on the people on TV, but in real life, she couldn't contain her emotions. Sakamoto was listening behind the curtains, and he had a brilliant idea. He shows up and the mother lunges at him like a beast. Sakamoto quickly puts the disc into it. Sakamoto then dodges his mother's pursuit with a nimble move. As he pressed the remote control, he jumped behind the TV. This is a video he recorded in advance, but the mother did not recognize it. The mother thought Sakamoto had gotten into the TV. Sakamoto told her that he was not from this world. The mother was devastated to hear this, but she finally gave up on Sakamoto. Sakamoto and Chubby have been studying in the library ever since. The teacher was in front of the school every day to catch late arrivals. However, he had a shame that could not be erased all these years. There was one person who was blatantly late every day, but he never caught him in a proper way. At that moment, Sakamoto came flying with a bamboo pole. The teacher thought Sakamoto was going to pole vault over the gate, but Sakamoto had another trick up his sleeve. The bamboo was just for decoration. The big man who passed by praised it repeatedly. With the teacher as the background and the bamboo, the painting was beautiful. The teacher was so worried that Sakamoto, who came to school every day, looked down on him. He decided to target Sakamoto. After all, everyone makes mistakes, and Sakamoto breaks school rules at times. Sakamoto is now hanging out with a trio of delinquents. Looking at the white smoke coming out from behind the wall, the teacher was so proud. You're caught in the act now, aren't you? However, if you look closely, Sakamoto is not smoking. Instead, he was showing off his bubble-blowing skills to the trio. The teacher's first action failed. The teacher continued to inspect the school after school cleaning. Sakamoto was playing with a broom. The teacher rolled up his sleeves and was about to reprimand him, but the girl next to him stopped him. Sakamoto wasn't playing, he was cleaning the most difficult part of the ceiling. The comical movement was not playing, but dodging falling dust. The teacher's second attempt also failed, but he didn't give up. The next class was his class, and he had to catch Sakamoto's antics. Surprisingly, Sakamoto took out the rice. Was it because his class was so appetizing? The teacher stared at Sakamoto. The moment Sakamoto ate the rice, the teacher immediately pointed out that he had violated discipline, but Sakamoto didn't panic, wiped his mouth and went to stand outside. The teacher was so excited that he had finally succeeded, but when he came out, Sakamoto was feeding a dying sparrow. At this moment, the teacher realized. It turned out that Sakamoto had made him angry because of the sparrow. The next day the teacher continued to catch students for being late. Sakamoto was running again in the distance, and this time the teacher decided to let him go. However,